Hey everybody. You know, being alone during an SHTF situation amplifies the risks and challenges you'll face. It emphasizes the importance of preparedness, self-reliance, and seeking out community or establishing connections with trusted individuals to increase the chances of survival and resilience. Welcome to Grumpy Acres. This is an episode of Full Spectrum Preparedness, and we're going to talk about forming a mag. But before we get into the content, tell me if I'm 5x5. Let me know if you've got good audio and the signal's good. I saw some people waiting. Go ahead and check in with me so I can say hi to you. And while we're doing that, this is welcome to the path to forming a mag. This is actually the second in the Building a Circle video series, which is based off the work of Charlie Hogwood. The first video was Preppers and Homesteaders Are Alike, and I'll put a link in the description to that video so you guys can go back and watch that and see how preppers and homesteaders aren't too terribly far apart. Now, a little bit of housekeeping before we get into it. If you've got any questions, let's hold them till the end. I'm going to have a time at the end of each one of the sections. This is busted up in sections, and you'll know whenever we reach a break point. And you can go ahead and ask your question then. I'm doing this by myself, so you're going to have to bear with me if I miss anybody's questions. I apologize in advance, but we're going to do the best we can. And if this works out, I'm probably going to do the rest of this series in live format because it's going to be a lot easier to do. In fact, the reason why I'm doing this one live is because I tried to I tried to make a video over this, and I could not get it right. There's so much information there, and I wanted it to be as good as possible for everybody. So I figured doing it this way, I can at least fudge it a little bit, right? And once we're done with this one, I may break it down into smaller bite-sized pieces. So if anybody wants to go back, they don't want to watch the entire video, they can just get the pieces. All right. So the way this all came about was I was cleaning out an old hard drive, and I found a PDF called Group to Go, and it was written by Charlie Hogwood and presented through his PREP. It was a personal readiness education program, and it's about forming a prepper mag. Charlie Hogwood is a longtime prepper, author, and trainer. I reread the PDF and thought, since so many people were asking about how to form mags now and building a community, it would make a great series of videos. Problem was, it was copyrighted. So I figured I'd ask Charlie Hogwood if I could use it. And to my surprise, he responded back and said yes. He said the only thing he asked was he had retired the course, so nobody is giving this course anymore through his series. And so he said he does consultations, one-on-one consultations and personal training. So if anybody's interested, his email is going to be down below in the description too. You can contact him and talk to him as much as you want. And finally, before we go on, if you're not a subscriber to the channel and you run across this video, I'd like to invite you to subscribe. Join the community. We do topics like this on prepping, and we do stuff on homesteading and everything in between. All right, so let's get into it. So building a prepper circle or a mag is a journey that requires careful planning, trust, and shared values. In this video series, we explore the steps to create a strong and reliable prepper mag. So let's go. All right, so let's see here. Where is it? So can you guys see that? Is that screen good? That is the cover to the forming a group. So let's see if my Stream Deck works. Oh, there it goes. Give me 1 second. Let me get my notes up. I got to do this on notes so I get everything right for you guys. Okay, before you start looking outward in order to form a mag, you need to look inward to prepare yourself. Preparing yourself for any situation requires careful consideration and planning. First thing we need to do is define the reasons for our prepping. This is crucial. Understanding your feelings and why you need to prep will provide motivation and clarity in what you do. The next one, secondly, defining your goals and values will help align your preparations with what truly matters to you, and knowing what you want to achieve and the principles you hold dear will guide your decision-making process. Additionally, recognizing you are responsible for the essential, recognizing who you are responsible for is essential, whether it's your family, friends, or community. Understanding your obligations will help shape your preparation efforts. Conducting a thorough hazard analysis is also vital. Identifying potential risks and hazards specific to your environment will allow you to develop strategies to mitigate them effectively. Moreover, envisioning where you would want to be in a long-term event is essential. Considering factors such as location, resources, and support systems will aid in formulating a comprehensive preparedness plan. And finally, it's crucial to work your plan diligently. Taking consistent action, acquiring necessary skills and supplies, and regularly reassessing and adapting your preparations will ensure that you are well equipped to face any challenges that may arise. By embracing these ideas, you can cultivate resilience and readiness in the face of uncertainty. Okay, so that's the first part. Prepare yourself. So let's go on to the second one, which is look for others. After preparing yourself, it's time to start looking for other like-minded people to come together with. When seeking others to join in your preparedness efforts, it is important to have a clear understanding of what you are looking for. Define the specific skills, knowledge, and resources that you believe would complement your own preparations and contribute to a cohesive group. Once you have a clear picture of what your ideal collaborators are, start looking for places where you can find like-minded individuals. This could include online forums, community organizations, or local meetups focused on preparedness and resilience. Engage in conversations with others who share similar interests and concerns. However, it is essential to maintain privacy and discretion for both parties involved. I don't have my glasses on. It's kind of hard to read those things. Share information on a need-to-know basis and establish trust gradually. Finally, as you establish connections, consider forming alliances with those who align with your goals and values. Collaborating with others can enhance collective preparedness and provide a support network through challenging times. By embracing these steps, you can seek out and cultivate meaningful group partnerships to bolster preparedness endeavors. Okay, so that's the second part. And I apologize. I didn't ask, were there any questions for preparing yourself on the steps it takes to prepare? Once you've done that and you go to look to others, are there any questions here? Okay, none. So let's go on. Folks, I honestly do not know how long this is going to take. There's a lot of ground to cover here, and I wanted to be as concise and quick for you guys so it didn't turn into a death by PowerPoint. Okay. Third part, organization. You found other like-minded people that you wish to partner with. Now it's time to actually organize your MAG. Organizing a mutual assistant group requires careful planning and organization. To begin, schedule regular meetings to bring members together, discuss important topics, and foster a sense of unity. These meetings can serve as platform for sharing information, strategizing, and addressing any concerns about challenges that may arise. Next, establishing group values that reflect the shared principles and goals of the MAG. This will help create a cohesive, harmonious environment. Building a strong foundation is essential for long-term success. Develop a clear mission statement, establish guidelines, and set expectations for group participation and commitment. Additionally, selecting a leadership model is crucial. Determine whether a centralized or decentralized approach best suits the group dynamics and objectives. The chosen leadership structure should promote effective decision-making and ensure that everyone's voice is heard. Lastly, define roles within the MAG to clarify responsibilities and distribute tasks accordingly. This will optimize the group's efficiency and productivity. By following these steps, you can organize a well-structured and purpose-driven mutual assistance group. Okay. So do you have some, make sure you give time for questions. Okay. I apologize. I'm ripping through these. It's been a long time since I've given a class using a PowerPoint presentation, and I've never done anything in this format before. So we're gonna learn as we go. Okay, so Yoda wants to know, how do you know if everyone has the same values? Well, that's part of the vetting process, and we're gonna talk about that. In fact, let's see, is it in this one? Okay, no, it's not in this one. It does talk about that later on, so I will address that question. Okay. All right. The next one is maintain. Your MAG has come together and you're headed in the right direction. You'll need to start doing some things that maintain this momentum. Maintaining a mutual assistant group requires ongoing effort and dedication. One way to foster cohesion and camaraderie within the group is through team building exercises. These activities help members develop trust, improve communication, and strengthen their bond. Additionally, organizing training sessions allows MAG members to enhance their skills and knowledge relevant to preparedness. Offering classes on various topics can further expand the group's collective expertise. Moreover, social events provide opportunities for members to connect on a personal level, building strong relationships and a sense of community. It's crucial to continuously maintain and improve morale within a MAG. This can be achieved through regular communication, recognition of accomplishments, and providing support to one another. Conducting drills for readiness allows the group to practice and refine their emergency response protocols, ensuring preparedness for potential scenarios. Finally, while engaging in daily activities such as sharing information, monitoring supplies, and updating plans, members actively contribute to the MAG's ongoing preparedness efforts. By incorporating these strategies, a MAG can thrive, fostering a resilient and supportive community of individuals united in their commitment to preparedness. Okay. All right. So we went through maintenance. Does anybody have any questions about that? And Yoda, the question about vetting is actually covered in the adding new members portion. So we'll get to that. She asked, how do you plan drills with everyone's different schedules? Well, that's part of the commitment process. You have to find a time that works for everybody, and everybody's not going to make every single session. Life gets in the way and it just becomes too hard. So what you do is you create a training schedule. Number one, just like in the military, you train multiple times over the same subject. Number two, if somebody can't make one of the sessions, they can make one of those other sessions. That way they're getting the same information. Plus, it becomes important for MAG members to train each other outside of these official mag sessions. If somebody's missed a session and they need to get caught up, somebody should take it upon themselves to help this person and bring them up to speed somewhat. All right. Hope that answers the question. Okay. This is it. This is the fun one. This is the one that everybody seems to have a problem with. All right. Correct dysfunction. Invariably, anytime you bring people together, conflict will arise. Dysfunction has torn many a group apart. So you need to ensure you have a plan on dealing with it before it arises. When a mutual assistance group experiences dysfunction, it is important to take proactive steps to address and correct the issues. Improving communication is often a key aspect of resolving conflicts and restoring harmony within a group. Encourage open and honest dialogue among members, emphasizing active listening and respectful communication. By fostering an environment where everyone's voice is heard and valued, misunderstandings and conflicts can be effectively addressed. Communication is probably the most important thing in a mag, so that everybody's on the same page and nobody is taking anything that was said out of context and creating mountains out of molehills. Reestablishing roles within a mag can also help address dysfunction. Clearly defining and assigning responsibilities to each member ensures tasks are properly distributed and accountability is maintained. This one is also important because people tend to take over roles that they shouldn't take over, that they haven't been assigned to, because somebody isn't doing it the way they want or somebody isn't doing it properly. This is going back to the communications aspect, because once something like that starts happening, you have to communicate to each other in order to get everybody back in their assigned lanes. Additionally, if a member consistently poses a problem or creates conflict within the group, it may be necessary to remove them. While this decision should be made with careful consideration, sometimes removing a problem member is crucial to the overall health and functionality of the mag. By addressing communication issues, reestablishing roles, and addressing problematic members, a dysfunctional mag can be guided back to a state of productivity and unity. Okay. Well, you got a lot of questions tonight, Yoda. How do you correct issues without hurting feelings? Well, that's part of being a good leader. And a good follower, good team member. Team members should be able to talk frankly with each other. What's the number one rule of community? Pardon my language. It's don't be a dick. So if you're not a dick about it, then chances are the other person, as long as they're open-minded, which they may not be, but you have to do it anyway. You got to be truthful with people, and that's one of the things. Anytime you take any of these corrective measures and you've got somebody that's posing a problem, don't do it by yourself. Do it with at least two people. You want two people so that there's no he said, she said type of thing. Because if two people are having a conflict, it's really easy for it to grow out of proportion. Okay. The next slide is adding new members. This is where your vetting process comes in, where we talk about it a little bit more. So you've got your mag organized and running smoothly. Now it's time to start adding members. Recruiting new members to a mutual assistance group requires a strategic approach to ensure the right individuals are brought on board. Now remember, as we're going through this section, adding new members, this is what you're doing in that first initial phase when you're reaching out and touching base with people and getting to know people and figuring out if they're like-minded or not. This is the same process, only this time you're doing it as a group instead of you individually. All right. So next, to begin effectively communicate the group's goals and values and objectives. Clearly articulate the purpose of a mag, outlining the specific areas of focus and the desired outcomes. This will help attract individuals who resonate with the group's mission and are motivated to contribute. When vetting potential candidates, conduct interviews and evaluations to assess their compatibility with the MAG. Consider their skills, experience, commitment, and alignment with the group's values. It is important to ensure that new members possess necessary qualities and abilities to contribute positively to the collective efforts. Once a candidate is accepted into the MAG, it is crucial to get them off to a good start. Provide them with orientation materials, guidance, and support. Help them understand the group dynamics, roles, and responsibilities, and ensure they feel welcomed and integrated into the community. Lastly, to maintain the interest and engagement of new members, provide ongoing opportunities for learning, growth, and active participation within the MAG. Offer training sessions, workshops, collaborative projects that keep members motivated and interested in the group's activities. By incorporating these strategies, recruiting new members to a MAG becomes a purposeful and effective process, strengthening the collective preparedness efforts. All right, this is probably the hardest part for anybody that's looking to form a MAG. That initial conversation, whether it's yourself reaching out initially to form the group, or it's the group trying to find new people. So this is where all these different places. Remember, in the first slide, it said, find places to meet like-minded people. This is where you're going to be looking for new members, and this is where you're going to be doing the communicating the group's goals, values, and objectives. Okay. So going back, this is the assignment question. Yoda asked, no, folks, for the record, she's coming up with these questions on her own. We did not collaborate at all on this topic. So she's coming up with these questions, and they're good questions. And if anybody else has got questions, please speak up and make sure that I catch them, okay? So do assignments mean that you don't learn other roles? No, absolutely not. Think of it like a military unit. You cross-train. Everybody cross-trains so that they can at least have a conversation. They don't have to become experts in it, but they should be able to have a conversation about a topic. So say you've got somebody, say Chuck Peoples is in your group. So he's the medical expert. He's going to teach everybody else how to do medical. And say Yoda's the canning expert. She's going to teach everybody else on how to can and preserve food. And you're going to cross-train and you're going to cross-pollinate that information so that everybody has a good solid base. Certain people are going to rise to the top in certain subjects, and they're going to become the subject matter experts. Okay. Excuse me. So the next question is, how do you open the conversation without looking crazy and or offending somebody? The easiest way to start the conversation is to not talk about prepping. Do it in a neutral site. We do potlucks. That's how our homesteading group started. We do potlucks, and we got to meet everybody. Everybody had a shared interest, homesteading, and people grew and created bonds within the group. We expanded our circle of friends by going to these things. And if you're not doing it in the homesteading thing, the circle that we're in actually started on the survival boards. I don't know if anybody remembers that site. It's still out there, but I ran into them 14, 15 years ago, and we became involved 12 years ago with them. And so that's how we met. So you got organizations like PrepperNet. I wouldn't recommend going to the survival boards. It became extremely toxic. I don't know if it is anymore or not. I'm not bad mouthing it. this is my own personal experience on it. But there are places out there where you can learn. Thank you, local prepper. I appreciate that. You know, there are places out there where you can find like-minded people. You know, the festivals, the Midwest Preparedness Festival, Prepper Camp, the local preppers going to, Kentucky Sustainable Living, Self-Reliance Festival. These are all places where you can start the conversation with like-minded people, you know, and just if in your head you think you might the conversation may be a little crazy, then don't talk about it at that point. Feel the person out. Yeah, corn pot makes a great point right there. Telegram is turning out to be a fantastic way to share information and meet new people. Okay, let's go on to. Is anybody got any other questions about that section or anything we've covered so far? No? Okay, so let's go to the next one. Understanding surroundings. Now that your group is formed and is growing, it's time to assess the larger community and surroundings. I'm using Stream Deck for the first time tonight. I'm kind of grooving on it because the PC with the slides on it is actually in a completely separate room. So it's kind of cool. That's why I keep looking down here to hit the button. To ensure a mutual assistance group understands its surroundings, it is crucial to engage with the community and establish connections. By linking up with local community, the MAG can forge valuable relationships, exchange knowledge, and collaborate on common goals. Additionally, establishing partnerships with other groups fosters a collective support and resource sharing. Creating a positive image within the community is vital, as it builds trust, credibility, and goodwill. This reputation can facilitate cooperation and assistance during challenging times. Now, I'm going to stop for a second and address this one specifically. All right, the non-prepper community has a very poor image of the prepper community thanks to people's behavior and things like doomsday preppers. So this is where you don't want to go out. You don't go out in tactical gear and camis all the time. Just be yourself. I mean, if that's what you wear constantly, then do it so people know that. But if you don't go out there and fulfill that image, that crazy prepper guy. Okay. Furthermore, the MAG may need to establish commerce as needed, engaging in fair trade and resource exchange with local businesses or individuals. This helps foster a mutually beneficial economic environment. Now, as an example, we go down to the local restaurants as a group all the time. There's 2 or 3 of them that we go to, and the owners have gotten to know our community pretty well because we spend a lot of time there and we spend a lot of money. And several of the people in our community have gotten into other relationships with these businesses. I know one family that is getting food scraps for their animals from one of these restaurants. So it's really important that we go out there and establish these connections so we can start doing commerce with them. And that falls under the creating alternative economic streams too. Okay, lastly, recognizing and assessing threats in the surroundings is essential. By understanding potential risks and vulnerabilities, the MAG can adapt its strategies, strengthen preparedness measures, and effectively mitigate potential dangers. By considering these elements, a MAG can develop a comprehensive understanding of its surroundings, enabling it to operate effectively and serve the community efficiently, and serve the community effectively. See, this is what happens. This is why I didn't make this as a recorded video, because reading these notes, I would have to redo these things 10 times. Okay, Yoda's got another question. Are you just sitting there thinking about things to ask? I do appreciate it, though. So the question is, how do you know other groups share values and will grow with you? Well, the only way you can find out is by engaging with them. And again, this is why things like Midwest Preparedness Festival, CamperNet, or Prepper Camp, all those other ones, Self-Reliance Festival, that's why these are important, because that's where these different circles come together and you get to interact with them and you get to see let's face it, there's some crazy people out there that you don't want to associate with, but you get to see who's who and how they behave. All right. And you don't have to be friends with them, but as long as you've got a good mutual working relationship with them, you're good to go. And then the next question, and we see this one a lot. Shouldn't we be worried about other groups? You know what? If you do your area analysis and you do your threat analysis, you should get to know them pretty well. And yes, there are some groups out there that you should be concerned about, and they'll make themselves pretty obvious quickly. And it's they tend not to hide, because most people like that are very open about the way they're going to behave if something happens. And they through the vetting process, like we do, we did Conflicted around the campfire every night at the camp out at Midwest Preparedness Festival. You get to see how people are, especially if they've got a couple of beer under their belt or a couple of belts of whiskey under their belt. People start speaking the truth, and they show themselves really, really quickly. As you get to know them, of course, you're not violating OPSEC. You're not telling them all your secrets, and you're not divulging too much information. It's just like on the first slide, it said share information sparingly and only as needed. Okay. Now let's go to the next one, and this is where this is the final slide, and this is where that previous question about should we be worried about other groups comes into play. Your MAG has done its area study and identified areas of concern. Now it's time to create a plan to manage any threats that have been identified that may arise. When managing threats, a mutual assistance group must be proactive and prepared. Gathering intelligence is crucial to assessing potential risk and stay informed about the changing situation. Okay, gathering intelligence is not a single event. This is an ongoing effort. All right, it never stops. You're always gathering intelligence, and you're always revamping your area study and adjusting your plan as needed. By monitoring sources of information and sharing relevant data within the group, a MAG can make informed decisions. So what that means is if you've got one piece of information that you're holding, you want to make sure you share it with the group. Don't keep it close to your vest. A lot of preppers don't like sharing information, but in this case, it's very important that you do that. To effectively manage threats, the MAG should focus on observing and controlling them. This involves identifying potential dangers, implementing mitigation measures, and maintaining a vigilant stance to prevent escalation. In case of escalating threats, the MAG should activate the group as needed, mobilizing resources, skills, and capabilities to address the situation. Depending on the circumstances, sheltering in place may be the most appropriate response, ensuring the safety and security of members within a designated area. However, if the threat surpasses the capabilities of the MAG or necessitates evacuation, a well-coordinated plan should be implemented to ensure the safe relocation of members and their families to designated evacuation sites or other secure locations. So basically what those last 2 points were saying, and this is prior to the stuff hitting the fan, all right? First, you decide if you're going to shelter in place, and then if you can't do that, then you have a plan to relocate to a safe location, your bug out location, or some evacuation area if your bug out location is compromised. It depends on the circumstances. Throughout these actions, maintaining a secure profile is paramount to protect the MAG and its members. This involves practicing operational security, limiting public exposure, and maintaining discretion to prevent compromising the group's effectiveness. By following these strategies, the MAG can effectively manage threats and safeguard its members and resources. Now, this is the the line in here about this involves practicing operational security, limiting public exposure, and maintaining discipline to prevent compromising the group's effectiveness. Now that's a true statement, but you need to balance the connection with the community with limiting public exposure. If you can go out and engage in the community while still maintaining safety for your members, you should be out there engaging with them, because as I've said before, if you're boxed up, you're holed up, and you're not engaging with the community, stuff is going on, life is going on without you. And it may be going to complete crap out there for people. And if you're not there to provide guidance and let them know that you're there to help, then when you come out of your safety area, you may be behind the curve. You may be battling people that are already established, have established a chain of leadership and control points and stuff. So you have to limit this, or you have to balance the limiting public exposure with your engagement with the community. Okay. So Yoda's got a couple more questions. What is the best way to gather intel if you are a lone wolf or just don't want to talk to people? Well, you have to do an area study by yourself first. That's the first thing. You have to do an area study, which if nothing bad is happening, that's actually pretty easy to do. It's just a matter of gathering the information and putting it in a comprehensive format for you. If you're by yourself, you're already behind the curve. All right. There's no way that you're going to be there's no way one person is going to be able to gather as much information as 5, 10, 15, 20, however big your mag ends up being. There's no way that you can gather as much information as that group together. That's why this forming the mag is so important for people to do. And even if you're an introvert or you don't like people, you should still consider getting into a group of some sort, either an extended community or a mag itself. All right. Okay. And then, what is the best way to be a gray man? Well, don't do stuff that sets you apart from the population. And how does that work with you gathering intelligence? Being a gray man can actually help you get intelligence, because if you don't look like you pose a threat to somebody, they may be more open to talking to you and giving you information. The whole gray man concept. I assume that anybody that's watching this video knows what a gray man is, but in a nutshell, it's taking a stance where you do not stick out. You're not wearing anything that's going to give away your intentions or your ideas. Like you don't wear a MAGA hat or a Freeman hat if you're in the middle of a Antifa riot, So yeah, and Local Prepper makes a great point. That's an excellent point. Remember to vet your mag. It works both ways. As if you're getting into an existing mag, you're interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you. Okay. Now, is there any more? I don't think there's any more slides. Nope, that's the last slide. Let me bring myself back up. Okay. Now, here's the call to action for this here's the call to action for this video. Building a prepper circle is a journey that requires time, effort, and collaboration. By clarifying goals, finding like-minded individuals, building trust, defining roles, establishing communication channels, and participating together, you are on the path to creating a resilient and supportive prepper circle that you can navigate any challenge that comes your way with. So that was it in a nutshell. Not bad. I hope I didn't bore anybody with that. If anybody's got any questions, you want to talk about any topics, this is the time we're going to do it. And somebody's sticking their head in here.
Yeah, you have local prepper on there. People are actually engaged in following I would send him a link and let him join you.
I'll tell you what. Yoda says that I should put the link and see if anybody wants to come up and talk about the subject. So let me do that. Let me pull up. Oh, where is it? Give me a second, guys. So let's see here. There it is. See, this is why I married her. She comes with these good ideas every now and then. So if anybody wants to come up and talk on the stream, feel free. Oh, I don't want to put that one up there. So hang on a second, guys. I'm doing some housekeeping back here. Okay, looks like that one. Looks like we're good to go. Looks like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is an important thing. This is one of those topics that we've noticed on our channel, and as we go to these festivals, more and more people are talking about how to form a group. They want to know how to form a community, and they feel like they're behind the curve. And if you're one of those people that feel like you're behind the curve, don't feel that way. You still got time. If you listen to the news, everything looks bleak and the world's going to end tomorrow. You still got time. I use the industrialization example of how quickly it happens. So we've been farming our community for 15 years. That's how long, or actually longer than that, to be truthful. But the community that we're in, the people that we're involved with now, have been doing this for 15 years. And whenever industrialization started back in the 1700s, Britain was the first country to do it. The next group of countries that industrialized, it took about 80 years for them to industrialize, and that was Germany and the Northern European states. The next wave of industrialization only took 40 years to take place. And so as time goes on, the last wave of industrialization was the Southeast Asia countries, Korea, Vietnam, and all that. It took less than one generation. So we're going to use our expertise, the people that have done this before, and we're going to share it with people and get people involved and make it happen quicker. And we got somebody. Boom. Hey, local prepper. What's up, man?
What's going on, man?
Not much. Doing a PowerPoint presentation for the first time since I got out of the military.
PowerPoint kills.
Yes, it does.
You got him, man?
Yeah. Okay. She's checking on me. I'm sorry. So how you been, man?
Just another day. I've actually been in the middle of a move. As you can tell, the background's a little bit different.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
So what are your thoughts on forming a mag? Any insight that you got on this?
I think it's probably the most. I don't think we see a lot of mags unless you get out to where you guys live, because it's very difficult. It's probably one of the most difficult thing a prepper can do. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily just forming one themselves, but actually finding one and then vetting one that isn't just apple crate crazy. Or we both run into situations where we think we found one and then we find out that it's just a big pew fest is all it is. And those guys are great. Those guys are great because they got big hearts, but unfortunately they some of the crazies have a tendency to levitate towards them. So they're a little bit less level-headed. But I mean, just starting one is really difficult. I mean, just finding anybody that's even remotely close to you is extremely difficult. When you have a situation where you can kind of just, I guess, find that community that happens, and you have the ability to move, and you have a mobile job and things like that. It's much easier, but it's definitely difficult in non-rural areas. That's for sure. And you would think it would be easier too with all the different little meetup groups that are out there. I went to my very first mag meeting I ever went to was in 2008. We met at a library. There was 20 of us. We all shook each other's hands. We all knew each other's first names, and that was it. And we never saw each other ever again.
Yeah, I only know two mag groups or mags, and actually one of them's not even a real mag. So you and I have a mutual friend who's got a mag, and they're the only true mag that I've ever known that has made it long term, and they've been together quite a while. And then the other group is a group that actually our neighbor is part of it, but they're part of the good old boy militia in this area. They got together. A lot of them grew up together, and they just started training on tactical stuff. And over the last couple of years, they've gotten more into. They saw how Yoda and I were trying to homestead and doing all that stuff, and they actually started turning into a more multifaceted group of people. And it's not going to lie. When we moved in, I was really concerned. That whole vetting the other group, first time I saw them, they were doing CQB on an old trailer house with airsoft and camis and armor and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But turns out they're just a bunch of good old boys having a good time and just trying to navigate this crazy world that we're in now. So they've turned into a bunch of good friends now. So I get what you're saying about finding a group, man. The way our community, you and I have had this conversation before. The way our community came about was just freakish. Started out as a conversation about a mag group, and it turned into people buying property instead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys, from what we've talked, what little I know about it, you guys have actually made it very I wouldn't say easy for people to figure it out, but you're pretty straightforward. If you buy property around us, be prepared because we're going to be friends. We're going to be friends.
Well, and the whole idea is it's better having a like-minded person in there than somebody who's not like-minded. We don't have to like them. We don't actually have to be friends with everybody, but if we're all pointed in the same nominal direction, there's less chance of things going sideways. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So do you have any, let's see, how do I pose that question? So if you were to give anybody advice on this whole process, where would you start looking first to find like-minded people? Because I've said it before, that initial conversation is the hardest thing to do. Where would you look to start these conversations?
I hate to say it, but I would start online. When I moved up here to the Eastern Shore of Virginia, I actually you can put a flyer up as long as you're not advertising like it's not necessarily a business, but like a money-making scheme. You can advertise for free at any post office. They put up the bulletin boards and you can advertise there for free. And so I went around to every little post office within probably 30 miles of where I'm at and put a little flyer up. Said, if you're interested in prepping or preparedness or just want to learn more, you go ahead and click this QR code. And it took them to a website that basically it took them to a Facebook group. Everybody's familiar with Facebook, and you either like it or you don't. But for the most part, I would say a good percentage of the population uses it. And, so I put that in there and I never got a single hit. Not a single hit. I was looking around and online, just kind of like where to find preppers and all this other things. And I stumbled across this Virginia-wide preppers group that probably had 40 or 50 members in it, and from everywhere, all the way to the furthest western part of the state, all the way to the coast. Now, where I am, there's nobody within 60 miles. But, at least I have friends if I want to drive 60 miles south or 40 miles north or something like that. I got kind of involved with them. We never met, but the reality is that probably the best place to start is online. I would love to just get one of the you can order these coffee mugs on Amazon that says, "I'm a prepper, ask me questions." And just go into the local diner, because this has one, and then just sit there with a pot of coffee and put that cup out there and just like start making eye contact with people and see what happens. I think that's a good way to do it, up front and have a little bit of fun, but you automatically identify yourself too. And that's a scary thing about preparedness. You're out there, you're doing that rural homesteading thing. Lots of people do it out there. Here on the East Coast, there's very few people that talk about it outside of like Appalachia, so it's a little bit different monster. It has a lot to do with where you live and the community around you.
Yeah, you said grab that mug and go advertisement. I heard people's heads popping all over the internet as you said that. Just no, that's one of the people not wanting to open up is one of the reasons why we're where we are instead of back over on the Missouri side.
Yeah.
Now Tamara Smith asked the question. She says, "How do you trust people?" That is the big question. How do you go about getting to the point where you feel like you can trust somebody? I mean, with a mag, you're looking for three levels of trust. You've got your wallet, your life, and your wife. And if you can trust somebody with the first one and you can't trust them with the other ones, you can create a relationship, but it's going to be tenuous. Once it gets into the life and the wife, your spouse is and your kids are the most important thing to you. It's a dicey situation. It's hard to develop those type of relationships. How do you go about figuring out how to trust people?
Well, as far as them knowing that I'm a prepper, I don't really talk about it very much. Oddly enough, I have a YouTube channel and all these. I don't talk about it at all, but I don't really talk about it as much here in the local community. And unless I hate to say this, but my girlfriend outs me all the time. She'll be talking to her friends and blah blah blah, and instead of saying, "Hey, he's a retired Marine," she says, "Oh, he's a prepper." Like it's my job title or something, right? We actually had somebody the other day go, "What's that? I've never heard of that before." And so now, how do you explain that?
Absolutely.
But I mean, like I said, I don't really talk about it. But I mean, if you had to have a vetting process, I would just use the same. What's up, JB? And yeah, I saw you too there, Jordan. Appreciate you guys dropping in. I told some of my guys to come over here if they had time.
Okay.
But it's just if I don't really throw it out at them. I just if they find out I'm a prepper, then I just tell them I'm a prepper. And if they ask about it, I said, well, I just prepare for the stuff that we should be prepared for. Like asteroids hitting us. No, I'm joking. Everybody loves that one. What do? You die, dummy. That's what you do. But it's like hurricanes and tornadoes. We had a tornado 30 miles north of us 6 months ago, touched down in Maryland.
Wow.
It's like, and it was a tiny one, but those are the things that happen. Flooding. We prepare ourselves for things that could or would happen. I mean, I'm pretty sure I didn't tell you, but 2 nights ago, the water main in the new place that I'm staying blew. So we woke up to 8 inches of water in our basement.
Oh, not good.
So how do you deal with that? Do you have the skills to do emergency plumbing work? What's the next step? What do you need to get all that water out of there? Do you need to call somebody yourself? It's $1,000 job and I've already got all the water out of it in 2 days. Mm-hmm. Because that's part of preparedness too. Everybody talks about skills, but they're always about the fires and sharpening knives and cutting tree downs and making furniture out of redwood and just dumb stuff. My girlfriend is doing stuff to me right now. But how do I talk to them? If they're interested, if they show interest, I say, hey, listen, if you're interested, let me know. And that's really about it. Because if they are interested, they'll come looking. I'll give them a card, or I'll tell them to look me up, local prepper, all one word. And, there are people that I know that know I'm a prepper that are interested in it, but people do things their own ways. They're interested in like doing it their own way. They don't want to ask for help, or they don't want me to know that they have interest, even though that I know they do. So they'll just kind of like maintaining. They take OPSEC just a little too far, I think.
Yeah.
But it's different for everybody.
Tamara posted a comment after that, and she says, I don't like getting burned. And that's one of the things that you have to realize whenever you go out searching for either trying to create a prepper group or a mag, or trying to find one. You have to be ready for failure. The chances of a group staying together for a long time is extremely small. There are very few of them that make it a long time. And I think the newly formed ones, you're going to get you bring the mag to the apocalypse that you got, not that you want, right?
Yeah.
To paraphrase Dick Cheney, you come with what you got. I've heard some of the stupid. I'm not going to repeat any of them because some of the people might actually see this video, but I have heard some of the stupidest reasons for groups falling apart. And it's like, and I know these people, and it's like, man, you guys are intelligent adults, and you're responsible, and this is what caused your group to break up. It's just you never can tell, but it's that communication thing, and establishing roles goes a long way into keeping stuff like that from happening. But you got to be prepared for it. Got to be prepared. Okay, let's see here. What else? Who else we got? What else we got going on? Looks like we got some more people. Dog and Ball Productions. Good to see you here. If I don't say hi to you guys, this has been kind of this open discussion part was not something that I had planned. I was gonna death by PowerPoint people, and then take some questions and get off. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Okay. So the question about threats, you're always talking about the werewolf preppers, and other people are talking about the marauders and the golden horde. How would you go about doing that area study and analyzing these threats? I mean, you've got, just by nature of your career, you've got some really good insight into that. And how do you translate something like that into something that civilians could use?
Oh yeah, that's kind of difficult. I mean, I would probably start, knowing the threats that are around, as far as like just bad people in bad places. I would start with it. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would probably start to convert it into the civilian format. I would probably start with just asking people like, hey, what about that neighborhood? What about that neighborhood? What about that? You can literally sit down and do an area study of bad areas or places you shouldn't go after dark, just by talking to your neighbors, just by talking to people at the local diner, just to talk to, relatives of the family, things of that nature. We have this little town that I'm in right now. It's an awesome little town. It's like Mayberry by the sea, but it does have a bad section of town. And if you shouldn't go there during the night, then you probably shouldn't go there during the day. And logically, that's where bad people will come from. And then you can start to associate certain names with certain areas. Read your local paper. A lot of towns and municipalities now print the arrest records or the police logs. Read those things. Go have a cup of coffee. Take your not the chief of police. I mean, unless it's a small town, but like maybe a sergeant, in your local PD, and say, hey man, I want to buy you lunch. I want to pick your brain real quick. What do you think? And just sit down and talk to the guy. Said, listen, I'm new to the area. What are the areas to stay away from? Are there bad people out there? You know, you're going to know this more than anybody else. I'm not asking you to do anything. I just don't want to catch myself in a bad place at the wrong time. You know, Jordan says too, you know, a school rating is a good indicator. Yes, it is. In municipalities, it is. But you got to be careful with that too, because you can find, for instance, there's a very high nationally ranked private school that is probably 30 miles from where I am right now. But if you go 10 miles more south, there's basically a hood. So, you know, you get one doesn't always mean the other, but yes, having good schools in an area normally means people that make more money, have kids that they want to go to college. It's, you know, it's systemic that good schools equal good areas. Yep. But it's not always true. You know, down in North Carolina, on the coast, in a town called New Bern, and that was actually, yeah, he's having flashbacks. Yeah. So New Bern, that used to be the capital of, that was the British provincial capital of what was the province of North Carolina for the Brits. And so there's a palace there. Right on the other side of this palace is a slum. So one thing doesn't necessarily mean the other, but yes, I would look at schools, but I would talk to people. You know, it's word will travel through a small town like wildfire, both good and bad, and just knowing those things really helps. So
we had a group of guys. I want to say older gentlemen, but they're the same age I am, so I'm not going to use that descriptor. But they call themselves the Rusty Zipper Club, and their entire purpose in life was to get together 2 or 3 times a week over some beers in somebody's garage and just talk about the community, talk about what was going on in the area, and just share information. And that's, you said, go to the local diner if you're someplace. That's a fantastic idea, because the Rusty Zipper Clubs hang out there too, you know. So that's a fantastic idea. Well, okay, we've been going for an hour. I appreciate you popping up here, Local Prepper. Was not expecting it, but it's always great to talk to you. You know, you got anything exciting going on that you want to share with anybody?
I'm always have something exciting going. Did they send you some of these yet? There you go.
There it is.
We got to do this.
Yes, we do.
We got to do this. You're going to host. I'm going to host. We're going to do this. I'm going to get with the rest of the graybeards, and we're going to, once I finally finish my 40-day move, that's one of the things that I'm going to get into and see if we can't, like, I don't know, figure it out. We're going to get a scorecard. Something's going to happen. Yeah. But it's all going to be good. So if you guys don't know what that is, it's the new card game. It's made by the same company that does Conflicted. It's without rule of law, so it should be pretty interesting.
Actually, it replaced Conflicted. It's actually a replacement for it. Spags described it as Conflicted on steroids, and I tend to agree with him after going through it. It's kind of funny. Yoda was going through the decks, looking at it, and she made the comment. She's like, "Guys, we've already been through half these cards. It's already happened. You know, we already know what we're gonna do."
Yeah. Check off the list. Check.
Yeah. Which is really kind of sad and scary, if you want to know the truth. But it is what it is. All right, guys. Does anybody else in chat have any questions whatsoever? None? There's a delay, so I'm gonna let it catch up a little bit. But yeah, whenever you get ready to I've got to get through festival season before I can do a live like that. This is the last time I'm going to be able to do a live, except on Tuesday, like this, for probably till the end of October.
Gotcha.
Because we've got 3 festivals in October by itself. You know, so we're going to be traveling. We're going to be.
Are you going to Prepper Camp?
No, we're not going to Prepper Camp. We're going to Midwest Preparedness Festival, and then Self-Reliance Festival, and then Kentucky Sustainable Living. You know, and that reminds me of something I wanted to say. You know, the Jason over at Kentucky Sustainable Living, it's not really a mag per se. It's more of a loose network of people that are like-minded, and they've got almost 900 people enrolled in the Kentucky Sustainable Project. And
Wow.
so, if you can't get in an organization like that, and you can't find somebody to hook up with, then you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
You know. But Jordan wants to know where your Viking head is.
It's in one of these boxes someplace. And with the way the beard's going lately, yeah, it's pretty insane. Hey, I wanted to tell you too, what is it? After I go to prepper camp, I'm going to prepper camp not to work. I'm going to be helping out Jester from It's Doomsday podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be helping him out, but I'm also going to be talking to lots and lots of people there, and starting the idea of getting the idea in people's heads for Prep Stock 2024.
Oh, cool.
That's going to be going in October of 2024, and then in October of this year, myself and Jess are going to actually go out and walk the land and talk to all of the people that are supposed to be there, and we're going to basically do all the recon for it in October, and there'll be more to follow. But I wanted people to start thinking about it too. Instead of going to prepper camp, you could go to Prep Stock.
Okay, you hear that? Prep Stock, new one. Make sure you get on the calendar on Freesteading and put that on there once you figure out a date, so that people aren't walking all over each other scheduling festivals.
Yeah, that's a great idea, man. That's a great idea. I will do that.
All right. That's not. Yoda says, make sure you stop by the Son of Intent. That's not prepper. Are they going to prepper camp?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to prepper camp.
You're going to.
Yeah.
Well, Trip and Dana, the owners of Son Oven, are going to. I think they're going to be at prepper camp too. They're going to use our freeze-dried food to show off the Sun Ovens.
Yoda, are you going to have the giant walk-in oven? Or is that one in another country? That's right. I know who you are.
Okay. I think that's about it. Okay. Trip and Dana are going to be at prepper camp. So yes, they're going to be sampling our food. Apparently she
Cool.
just sent off a ton of food to them. All right. Well, folks, if you guys don't have anything else, Corn Pop, your question, it depends on the humidity. If you ever spent time in Okinawa, you know exactly what I mean. Anyway,
good experience.
Yeah, someplace I really enjoyed my year over there. I have no desire to go back. You know what I mean? Okay, guys, listen. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure you go check out Local Prepper. Are you still on your regular schedule?
No, I'm not. I got to repost a new schedule. Like I said, I've been doing nothing but moving for the last 40 days.
All right. I haven't been able to catch anything because the time you did your lives, and we've been so busy lately at work. I can't sit down and gaff off like I used to.
Gotcha.
You know, yeah, just everybody watch for Local Prepper when he gets back into the swing of things. Moving sucks. But I'm sure he's probably an old hat at it by now. We are going to be. It's not going to be till the end of the month that we go to back to the land, but we've got a whole bunch of stuff between now and then that we got to take care of. So, hope maybe I can get a live in. I don't know. We'll find out. But if nobody has anything to say, you got any final words you want to say, Local Prepper?
No, we're good, guys. We're good.
All
Thank
right.
you for inviting me in, and here I'm even going to drop out just so that you can finally close this thing out.
Well, I was going to do it with you sitting there too, so we could gab afterwards.
Oh, well, I'll stay.
Okay. All right, folks. Listen, subscribe to Local Prepper. If you're not a subscriber to us, go ahead and subscribe here. Most importantly, go out tomorrow and live a life done free. All right. Take care, everybody.